welcome to iLive, Life on Purpose. My name is Michael Charles from leadingwithintent.com, where I share insights, strategies, and secrets to intentional living. iLive and creating lasting results both in your personal and professional life. I want to help people master the essentials of life, money, and relationships. So you can operate on a high level of performance, and that is both personal and professional. So hang with me and take this journey together with me here as on YouTube. So for today's session, we I wanted to bring back a guest that we had a couple of weeks ago. My dear friend Michael Joseph and his wife Annie Joseph, and we considering this as a follow up to a session we did a couple weeks ago regarding relationships. And so we're continuing these sessions today. We're calling it Skills for Healthy Romantic Relationships. And so the goal is to help you develop relationships that are healthy in the household. And of course, if you're new couples, married couples, or anyone really that are looking to get into a new relationship, so this is for you. So let me start by reintroducing my friend and brother and sister, Michelange and Annie. Tell us, you just had a wonderful event just about a week or so ago. And I wanted to check in with you guys and see how it went. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, sir. Thank you for having us, and happy to see your wife and and as well you. Yeah, I, I'm so happy to be on your platform tonight to give you some feedback on how the session went. That was one. People were so happy attending, and I would like to tell you that we have over 600 couples from everywhere, and that was amazing.
That is
They
amazing.
love it. They told me that they have learned a lot,
Hmm.
and Annie and I are so happy because the mission is moving forward to a very good direction.
Yes.
That is awesome. That is really great. So,
Yeah.
what do you think was the highlight of the couples fellowship or conference for you guys?
You wanna say something?
We had many. We had many, but one I think that we got most of comment or feedback was the testimony of Sister Kathleen.
Okay.
And especially the women, they were like, "Oh, that was a good. That what the husband did was great." But I don't think they really get the message because what she was saying, she did not confront the mother-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
She remained quiet, and the husband sees that, and he, confront the mother for her. And so we don't want you to get into confrontation with your in-laws.
Mm.
And I think that her message was a powerful message.
Awesome.
You don't
Yeah.
get married with someone to divide, the son with the mother,
Mm-hmm.
with the rest of the family, but rather to bring them together, be a bridge, be a peace a maker, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And I think that was the message that she wanted
Yeah,
to
I mean
give,
that
and that
actually
was
was one of
was
our
well
highlights
done.
too. Your
Yeah,
message was clear, but
very
also,
clear.
but it was personable. I think everybody could relate to
Yeah.
a
Hmm.
couple that just getting married and where a parent may want to step in and try to, hey, that's my daughter, that's my son. We don't, right?
Hmm.
And trying to set the
Hmm.
stage. I think that was great. What about you,
Yeah,
Michelangelo?
that
What
was
was
good.
the highlight from your perspective?
All right. My highlight from my perspective it was I remember Brother Leo were talking about uh, illustration of his garden. If he wants to take away a plant in the garden, he wait until there's a little rain outside so the ground could be wet.
Mm.
This is something that mean a lot to me because There are time to time things in life that you want to put a correction or something, but you have to have the atmosphere ready for that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
always tell my people, you have to have the atmosphere ready to speak about social different things. You cannot put correction on your wife when she's not too happy because she may not be ready to hear that. You have to
Mm-hmm.
make sure the atmosphere is ready for that because correction is not easy. No one will sit down and be happy while someone else is trying to do correction. It's
Yeah.
something that you have to make sure the atmosphere is nice enough. And the way to do it is the same thing. You're pulling the flower in the ground. If the ground is too dry, you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
rip the roots and and do a terrible job. But if the ground is wet, it's easier to pull out the flower. This one, I like that. Even me, I took a lot of notes in the
Mm-hmm.
seminar, and I see marriage in a very high level, and I love it. I love it, and I love it.
That's awesome. I'm so glad to hear
Yeah.
this. And anyone
Yes.
watching, if you miss this, it's actually available to you to watch. You want to tell them they can go watch it?
Yes, Healthy Marriage Academy on YouTube or Instagram. They could go. All the videos are saved on Healthy Marriage Academy on YouTube.
Yes. So if you
Please.
missed this couples conference, you can go back and watch it on their YouTube channel, Healthy Marriage Academy. And I can tell you, you will learn a thing or two that will help you in your marriage. I don't know. You want to share anything you learn in this at the conference?
Oh, well, absolutely. We have been talking about it, since after the conference, couple of things that I've learned.
Hmm.
Um, I like when not doctor, brother Theoda talks about, in terms of finances in the house, because I know it's one of the leading cause of divorce here in America.
Mm,
So I
mm,
kind of like the way he portrayed, although he didn't really go in a lot of details, but there was enough at least to sustain the relationship if you're in hot fire until you can get more details. And I like the fact it says that it wasn't about who's controlling. Yes, we know the man is the leader of the house, but if the wife is better at it, you let her to control. And wife, even if you make more money than your husband, if it's better at controlling the financing, you let him take the lead, and you have to respect his position, and communication. There was a lot of communication,
mm,
you have to be able to communicate and having an honest conversation to say, okay, which one of us is better at it.
At it, yeah.
So I really like that. Of course, Sister Kethley's message was, the highlight for me, because I do have a lot of conversation with other young people, even people who's gonna get married or just got married. Because I do have a group of girls that I do. I think it's for six of us who's married,
mm,
who talk from time to time about our relationship, and we always struggle in terms of how does submissive looks like in a relationship.
mm,
And
mm,
sometimes when we hear the men's perspective or the that women perspective, that can bring a lot of confusion in terms of, okay, how does it looks like. And sometimes depending on the man, it may looks like the woman does not have a voice, and she made it clear you
yeah.
do have a voice, but at the end of the
Yeah.
day, you have a voice, he has a voice, but his
Mhm.
opinion will be the last one. If we can agree, then you're gonna have to be able to understand, okay, you trusting him that is taking you the right place, and say, you
That's
know what,
right.
you got it. And it doesn't matter how many times, you still have to always make sure that he does it, and it's not
Hmm.
gonna be perfect. She makes
Hmm.
sure she said
She
that
said
the
that.
men will make mistake, and you have to trust that it's an honest mistake. He wasn't out there to get you. So I
Yeah.
kind of
Oh,
so I kind of like that.
All right. Well, listen. I know I promised you some more
A lot of
guests. And I have two couples with me, also friends and brothers, and I can't wait to actually get their perspective on this. So, hello to my dear friends, Caleb
oh,
and Bernard, and I'm sorry, Caleb and Jessica, and Juan and Bernard. So we are so glad you guys could join us for this. I mean, We've been looking forward to this. For Michelangelo and I, we spoke a while back before we started, before the couples conference, and then we thought it was going to be a really nice, at least a good way to I guess a good follow up to the couples conference to have some younger couples, because again, at the conference we heard the pastors, we heard all older couples speak, but we wanted to bring some younger perspective onto this, and maybe the younger couples can learn something from you guys. So how about we start with Juan and Bernard. So tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe how you two meet, what attracted you to each other, something like that. Go ahead, give us a little history.
Give us the juice.
The
Yeah.
juicy, the juicy one.
All right, give me the juicy. uh, hello, everybody. So my beautiful wife, as you can see, we've been married for 7 years, and we met through a church gathering when I first laid my eyes on her. um, um, yeah, we met at a church gathering in New York, and at a youth meeting to be specific. And my church actually went to visit her church the following January, not knowing that was the church that she went to. And from there, the stars and the the sun start shining. Um,
Your life was brighter ever since, right?
yes, sir. Yeah. Um, yeah, she's
What
beautiful.
about her version? Because the ladies usually have a different version, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we have different versions.
Okay, well, I have a little bit more detail, but
Okay.
he got it right for the
If you
most
could
part.
speak up just a bit, so
Okay, so he has a little. I have a little bit more detail, but he
Sure,
got it right.
I'm sure it's the juicier one.
So, we met through a mutual friend, at a November meeting, a November youth meeting, the Thanksgiving youth meeting. The Pastor Olga usually hosts. Um, and we spoke. It was just like, okay, hi, and then that was it. So then, the following year, because this happened in November, so January the following year, his church, Paul's church, came to visit our church, and I was like, oh, I know them. And then after church, we greeted each other again, and we talked a little bit more, and then it kind of just like grew from there. It took off from there, and and now we're here.
But I mean, what was the attraction? What really attracted you to each other?
For me, she was modest, and she was humble and kind, and then the way she walks too. So,
Okay.
Good
All
one.
right.
yeah, but she's a complete package. Her mom and her dad were very blessed. I feel blessed every day. I cried that I was taking
Aw.
her away from them.
Oh,
Yeah.
what attracted you to him?
Um, it's not just because you were a bass player.
Oh,
Um,
that's
it's
that okay. That
it's not just because he was a musician. It was more. He he has this passion for whatever he does, and he's like he won't stop until he sees something through completely. And when he devotes himself to something, like he commits. And there's no deviation. There's no second guessing. Once his mind's made up about something, and he's sure, that's it. And for me, it's more. I mean, of course, he's a handsome man, but
of
I
course.
for me, what attracts me is what's going on inside. So the way that his character, and for me, his character showed me that he was a serious person, and it wasn't around to like play with me and play with my heart. So and that was from talking to him. I was like, wow, he's a really nice guy, like for real, and it was genuine.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, it wasn't
You,
like something that he was just putting on.
that's true of him. I've known him for a long time, so
Yeah,
I,
that is true.
I can testify to that.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
can testify to that. That's great. Well, let's go to Caleb and Jessica.
And let's go
Oh
with
yeah.
Caleb.
Well,
Yeah,
she's
you know,
answering all the questions already.
yeah.
So, what about it? So, how did you two meet? And, what attracted you to each other?
Well, again, like Brother Ron and Sister Bernide, and probably 90% of the youth is at a youth meeting.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, you can say the youth meeting hasn't done anything for you guys,
We
right?
can't say that. We can't say that. This is more Carmel, though,
Still a
So
youth meeting.
it's get to a
Uh,
youth
So we
meeting.
have to give the address of that youth
A
meeting.
lot of youth say they go to Mark Carmel to get the Holy Ghost, but sometimes that's not the only thing. They go-
You got the holy sister.
You
You
got
got
I got the
it.
Holy Sister.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I first seen her. We first met like about 10 years ago, and I was actually traveling with I believe it was in Philadelphia to go to Mount Carmel. So it was there we first kind of met. But since then we just been kind of just friends over the years. She's always been a stable friend in my life, like throughout ups and downs, just there in my life. I remember one time I was I had to pass a class in college, and I had no one to help me, and I literally called her like at 12. I wasn't
Mm.
supposed to, but I just know I could count on her, and she like helped me through this project, and I ended up passing the class. So yeah, we just been always friends. Um, and then a few years later, just looking to be, I guess, stable, and I prayed on it, and she was still here. So
Awesome.
that was a great sign of her just being stable. And I think the other question was what attracted me to her.
Hmm.
If you know Sister Jessica, she loves to serve and she's really humble. Her church can count on her, and one thing that I seen was how much her mother and her father counted on her, and how much she like served the ministry and her parents, and that was something that I was like, yo, that stability is what I needed in my
Mm.
life. So I was kind of looking at things that she had as like I need that to rub into me. So so that was something that was really big that stood out to me was her humility and her ability to just be stable and just serve. That was something, and of course she's beautiful because we got this beautiful daughter. So
Awesome. Yeah.
yes.
That's great. Well, so let's hear it from Jessica. Her story is likely to be different than yours, so don't feel bad.
uh-huh.
It's not too different. We met, like Caleb said, we met at Mount Carmel a little over like 10 years ago. And when we first met, we met as friends. It was just like, when you have extra people in your charter bus, it's like, okay, he's here.
Hmm.
And then he actually came with us again a couple years later. And that's when we kind of got to talk to each other a little more often. Then we became friends.
Hmm.
Um, the story about us being friends for a while was accurate. He did call me one night. It was like midnight. I don't know. Was I even in college yet? I don't know. It was midnight. And he called me to help him with a project. It was actually a paper about oil shale. I'll never forget it. It took a good 2-3 hours, but we finally got it done. And then later on, he told me that it was the paper that helped him pass the class.
Wow.
Um, what was the next question?
What attracted you to him?
Oh, sorry.
Yes, that's the most important question.
No, it's not.
That is the most important question, and I'm sure he wants to hear it again.
Um, what,
Yeah.
what attracted me to Caleb um, was, I guess, in a sense, I'm a curious person.
Okay.
So his friendship meant a lot to me. He was honestly a good friend, but what attracted me was that I wanted to get to know him past the Caleb everybody knew, the brother Caleb, the teaching, the on the share, like all of that. I wanted to get to know past that, and once I got to know past that, I got to know a really solid person, and the layers and the depths just kept coming, 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 and still to this day, I can say that I'm still learning him. So he's been a consistent friend, and he's just a new person. Like I feel like every day I'm just unwrapping something new. And also, he's very handsome. He looks good bald or with hair. So
That's important.
see,
That is important. That is very important too. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, she was making fun of the way my hair was, so I
So
just
we made an executive decision together.
Hold on a second.
He's
You
beautiful.
asked him to, and then he said yes, right? He didn't willingly just say, "I'm gonna do it."
no.
No, no, no. I asked him, and then he finally agreed, and I shaved it. So
Yeah, she was
Okay.
making fun of me too much. Her and my mother making fun of me so much
we
that
were encouraging him. We were.
yeah, I finally just had to just accept the facts.
You're beautiful though.
I appreciate it.
You're
Look at
welcome.
that. Look at that. So, brother Michaela and sister Annie, you guys have any questions for them before I move to the next questions I have for them?
I would like to ask them if there's anything that they really started to work on it after they followed the seminar. Is there anything? You don't have to go over detail because every marriage have a little something that need to work on. But is there anything that you really put hands on and then you say, my next move in the relationship will be this. I will make sure I apply that in my relationship. Do you guys get something like that?
Yes,
We'll
for
start with
me,
Ronald. Yeah, and
all
Bernard.
right. um, One thing that resonated with me, and I remember 2 weeks ago on this show, Sister Annie said, made mention of this. The key, and Pastor Zizi also spoke of this, was to work on your own happiness, work
Mm,
on being a whole and not just another a half. Because she's a whole and I'm a whole,
mhm,
and we
mhm,
both work on each other and contribute to making each other better
Yeah.
together. But the only way that that can happen is if I'm fully happy and if she's fully happy, herself and myself.
That's great. Sister
great,
Bernard,
great,
anything for
great.
you?
Yeah, definitely co-signing with what Brother Ron has to say. And it's, being dependent on your spouse for your happiness. Um, because that you, you can't put that kind of weight on someone else. You have to make sure that you are full or filling your cup as well on your own. And that way we're two happy people together. So
Mm,
I definitely, agree. And I believe that's Pastor Zizi that also spoke on that about not being so dependent on that person for all your happiness. We are two people who come together and be happy together.
Awesome, awesome. Well, let's the
That's
same question to you, Caleb and Jessica.
That's funny because that's the one thing that stood out to me as well. When you have so many things like that you're involved in, like ministry, work, and you have to also think about your own mental health. And sometimes when all those things are affecting you, you can kind of look to your spouse like, okay, can you make me happy because X, Y, and Z is not working? So,
mhm,
but you have to realize that, um, and I think that was really important. Like, it's not their responsibility
Yeah.
to make you happy. That's your responsibility. It's not you can put an extra stress on them trying to figure out, okay, what action do I have to do, to make this person happy, even though I myself may not be. So that's something that consciously we've been thinking about. I'm on vacation from school, so like we're like, okay, what are we gonna do? We're some type of things we're gonna do as individuals to make us happy that can help the marriage, and also the what Fred I was talking about with marriage. I mean, with finances. We are trying to take this time to really look at our finances and where our strengths are to try to build something during this pandemic. So that was something that really stood out for me as well.
Yeah, I can agree more about making sure that you're individually happy, instead of counting on your spouse to do it for you. And Caleb kind of hit the nail on the head about it adding a certain pressure about you feeling like, okay, am I making my spouse happy? When in reality, um, it's not fully your responsibility. So that stood out to me. And another thing was Sister Kitley. It's funny that Sister Annie mentioned it in a different perspective.
Bingo.
People were, yeah, different angle, different perspective. Two sisters were commenting about the whole mother-in-law thing, but one thing that stood out to me was she said it in the beginning of her marriage. She went in with the concept of um, responsibility versus rights,
Yeah.
and it was so funny because I had the same feeling. Like my parents brought me up to be very independent. I was the baby, but still I was brought up to be very emotionally independent. I could be alone, and I'd be perfectly fine and content. But coming into the marriage, I expected like my husband has to do this, this, and this, and he has to do this for me. And it was little by little I started realizing like, no, I have a responsibility towards him as well. So when she said that, it kind of like triggered me to be like, oh, am I really fulfilling my responsibilities? So that's been a personal, intentional thing to like make sure that I'm also holding up my end of the bargain in the marriage.
That's great. That's great. Now,
Really?
we will take some questions from viewers. So if you have questions, feel free to put them in the comment box. We'll maybe leave room for a couple questions. We'll see what they are. All right. But any questions you want to ask? We're talking about happiness. I don't know.
Oh, talking about happiness, what do you guys do for fun? Sister Annie and Brother Michael? I'd like to hear.
All right. Our fun is really different from what you might think it is. My wife like yeah. My wife like companionship. If you wanna make her happy and create some time for her to talk to you.
Oh.
Like me, I have to really start to snore in the bed so she can stop talking. When I start to snore, that's when she stopped talking. This if I cut that off the relationship, I really not making her justice. You
Wow.
see, fun. That's what fun to her. Sitting and talking to me and talk and build a conversation. That's what fun to her. She's not an outdoor
Excellent.
person who like to do outdoor activity, but talk and let her move the furniture around. And I'm here to help because every day the house change. Okay,
Why are you laughing, Dalu?
You know
and
why I'm
and
Remind me of
I
something.
can relate, Mike. I
and
can relate.
I
and
know.
and
but
my
the thing
and my
is,
she Daru, and she's always on your channel watching how you moving stuff around.
the thing is, we're so similar, Annie and I. I talk a lot too, especially at night because that's when I can't sleep, so I talk.
So you can imagine I don't get too much sleep.
So the next day, the next yeah. So the next day I woke up, I flipped the house around. So,
Oh, yeah. But
But you know,
I really like what they said about happiness. You don't wanna be with somebody and drain that person. You wanna bring your part. You wanna be an asset. You don't wanna be a deficit. When you met with someone, you just say that you're not responsible for his or her happiness, but you have to make sure it stays. You don't want to come and take away what he has or she had, and then you join them so much, and now the relationship is no
Empty.
longer what it's supposed to be.
yeah.
And something I that amazed me when I asked my husband, "Do you love me?" And I said, "Yeah." Sometimes excited, sometimes not, because there's another question that's gonna come after. But why?
when you're
And I asked him that, And I asked him that the moment that he the least expected that.
Mm.
And so, like, before we start the show, I asked him, "Do you love me?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, Annie, this is not the time." But you know what? I always want expect. I mean, what he does, he doesn't know why,
Mm.
because he's not supposed to know why he loves me. Because the moment he tell me that I love you for this, for that, he's in trouble. What if I don't get that thing anymore?
Mm.
I'm getting older.
Mm.
If you love me for my shape, what if I lose it? If you love me for my hair, hello. What
Okay.
I love that.
you not give me a reason. And so it never really gives me a reason. And you see, when you ask the panel, what attracts you? What do they couldn't I mean the search
That's
hard
yeah,
to tell
yeah,
you
Oh,
something.
that's
So
true.
they couldn't find the real reason. And this is what it is.
So I passed the
yeah.
test, right?
Yes, you did.
And you have
You did not. Because
Aww.
you are not supposed to find a reason to love your spouse. I mean, the real love. I mean, the level that you're supposed to love your wife supposed to be the agape one, which is the highest one,
Yeah,
the love
yeah,
that God has for you. Because this one, that's the love who's gonna help you. Let's say that you have broken trust in the relationship.
That's
That
true.
was not gonna help you to forgive that person. But the agape will. So I'm really happy with this panel because they don't know why they love this spouse. And
and
so it's gonna
Yeah.
be
it's funny hearing it. I mean, hearing all of you speak reminds me of the five love languages and how it's funny how
Yeah.
Mike says, when you spend time together, that's what makes you happy. And I'm
yeah.
sure his love language is different, right?
Hmm.
Yes, and you wanna know.
I want to know. Go ahead, share it.
What do you
What
like? I
makes you
don't
happy?
remember.
What makes you feel love?
What make me feel
No,
love?
Mike. Yeah, what makes
Oh
him
my.
feel that you love him?
Um,
Since I was a little boy, before I even think about girlfriend, I love to see when a wife respect her husband. I love that. I grew up close to one of my uncle. His wife is an angel, and I always say to myself, when I married and have a wife, I would like my wife to be like my aunt because everything she got to say to my uncle is, oh my
and
goodness.
when I'm upset, I don't say nothing. I don't talk.
Respect,
No,
Michael.
you won't
She
find any
respect
word.
me to the I don't want to say absolute respect like God, but these women here never give me any problem.
And he knows when I'm upset.
Yes, never
He
give me
knows because either
any.
I will not talk, I will not eat.
Yeah, and sometimes you might see her look like serious, but she's the sweetest. Okay, she's the
Yeah.
sweetest, and she's my
Okay,
friend. I don't know what
okay.
should I say. She's a very enjoyable person. I'm sorry I cannot show you anything, but she's a beauty. Okay, and
Okay.
she made my life. Okay, she made
Yes,
my life.
sir.
All
Oh,
right. Well, let's
oh,
go to Ron and
I
Barry in this
enjoy
case.
life to the fullest. Okay.
I will not
It's all
talk to
for you
him.
Because it's
guys.
getting it's getting hot over there.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. The sweetest one, the sweetest wife. Oh my goodness. God bless me.
All right. Well, thank you
Amen.
for sharing. So, how about you, Ron and Barry? What do you guys do together for fun to keep, to believe it or not, in a marriage, you have to always try to find something to keep you connected and enjoy, something that you can enjoy together. So, what do you guys do to enjoy each other's company and, just to have fun?
I guess, yeah.
Well, I know my wife. She loves surprises,
Okay.
and a nice going to a nice restaurant, spending time with each other, and listening to her talk. I, yeah, those
That would
are
catch her, would definitely get her heart.
yeah.
Yeah, but they us.
um, And in the house, I try my best to be funny and just have a good time. I think the key is to not bring any negative or any anxiety. You
Mm.
know, once you can have a clear environment, uh, you know, I think anything you do together is fun or enjoyable.
He
Okay.
likes being
Yes.
around
My wife asked, "What did you say?" I don't think she heard.
me.
But yeah, you said something about him. Yeah.
Yeah, I said he just likes being around me all the time.
Aw, that's so
That's why
Oh,
he
sweet.
nice.
married you. He couldn't see himself not being around you.
Yeah, I know. I'm lost. I'm in shit without a cell. Yeah, but
All right.
yeah, for the most part, yes. Yeah.
All right. Caleb and Jessica, you guys want to share? Yeah.
Yes. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, no. The same question to both of you. What do you guys do for fun?
Uh,
To enjoying each other's company?
uh, well, throughout the week, it's we're so busy. Like she's at work, I'm teaching, and then at night service. So on Saturdays we tend to I'm sorry, she's chef. So
That's all right. That's part
uh
of being in the family, right?
yeah. So on Saturdays now, like every Saturday, we just leave the house. Like nothing to do with church work. We just leave. And now Saturdays, my wife just came to me one day. Is like, I'm not cooking no more on Saturdays. I'm like, okay, like, whatever you say. So she just said that to me. I said, all right. So Saturday now we go out. We just go just walking. If it's good outside, we walk with Gabby. Um, and we just find a way to just drive far because
Mhm.
in the car, what we do, we listen to podcasts about marriages.
Mm,
Mm.
So,
okay.
and that's been our thing now. And then we'll pause and we'll discuss things to kind of work on a marriage because she always wants to now. She wants to talk. But she wants to talk about things that can help build our marriage and stuff. So that's been really really good. It's been holding us. So that's our anchor. Even if it's a movie that we watch together or watch TV shows, something that just anchor us back to kind of forget everything and like remember the foundation. So that's what we do every weekend. We leave the house and we just go travel, just drive far and
Mm.
just talk. That's our thing right now.
Okay.
I don't know
All
if I'm
right.
missing anything. That's it. Okay.
Good job.
You want to
Yeah.
answer the next question?
Okay. Well, talking about fun, now we have to talk about not the so much fun part. What do you guys argue about, if any?
Yeah. I mean, what are your biggest arguments about in the relationship?
Communication.
So we'll start with Bernie.
Oh,
She's like, what? I wasn't ready.
he's back.
I'm gonna tell you.
That's
I'm
a
gonna tell
tough
you
one.
this.
Yeah.
Let me interject. Um, for the brothers, I think this is a problem for us all. Amazon.
I got you, and I think you're right.
Yeah, you're right.
You got no idea now.
My wife just came to me with last week says, I'm buying this on Amazon. I don't care what you say. I was like, and I'm like, but it costs. I told you I'm buying. I'm like, all right,
I don't
okay.
remember.
So
You,
Yeah,
you don't want to get into any argument about I'm buying. Okay,
I
sure.
don't
yeah.
remember.
She
yeah.
said she don't remember what I'm talking about.
I don't
She,
remember.
she won't remember, but it's okay.
Yeah.
100 packages later.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So you want me to say something on that too?
Why did
Yeah,
you want
please. I'm still waiting for Bernie's answer, but she's thinking, so let's let her think.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't think you got much to say.
No, no argument. Only about me. I buy a lot of tools. Actually, I'm finishing my basement. I have all type of tools: table saw, jigsaw saw. I have hammer drill. I have everything in the basement. My wife say always when I'm on the computer, my wife say, "What are you looking for? Tools?"
But the thing is, you always say, Annie, you buy too much. You buy
Yeah.
too much. But him, when you go on his card,
Okay.
plenty.
Tools.
Hmm. For him, it's music equipment. So like his sound stuff, all of that. I always say, okay, babe, no problem. Okay, babe. But me,
Hmm. Yeah.
So it sounds like shopping. Shopping is one of the one of those
Yeah,
friends.
yeah. I can tell.
Shopping. Yeah.
Like for me, guys, I'm not gonna lie. Electronics. I love electronics. Computers, electronics, sound, anything. Like if it's brand new and I haven't tried it, I'm even if I buy it and return it, I'm gonna try it. If I like it,
Mm.
maybe I'll keep it.
And then he
Yeah,
has
that's Caleb. That's Caleb.
Yeah.
Caleb is a collector. So right now he's into getting basketball. So it's a basketball clothes, basketball shoes, basketball socks. Before we were in church, it was ties, watches. So it all depends on the season. But Caleb is a
Mm.
collector of sorts.
Okay. All right.
So you wanna tell them the story about the laptop the other day?
Oh my
So let me
gosh,
Yes.
tell you,
yeah.
let me tell you the
Yes.
story about the laptop.
I want to hear that. I want to hear that.
So his company just sent him a laptop, a Mac Pro, right?
Am I broken?
So he went and bought the exact same one.
Well, much better version.
Well, in my eyes, they are the same. So mind you, I see him playing the one with the laptop. So I'm guessing it's the one from work. So the other day I came to his office, I saw two laptops, exact same one. My eyes could not believe it. I'm like, what is that? He said, I bought another laptop. I'm like, how long ago? Let me see, a week and a half ago. I'm like, what you know, like when people buy electronic, they get so excited they wanna show the whole world. Not him.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what happened? He said, you've been seeing it. I thought you were okay with it. You never said anything. Because I thought it was your work laptop. How am I supposed to know? Well, then we got a new laptop.
Hey, look, I mean, the last time I bought a good laptop, well, the last time I bought a laptop was 2013, right? My MacBook 13-inch was from 2013. So I'm like, I owe myself an upgrade to 16-inch, right? The latest version.
what?
But of course, I knew she was going to say something. So I just showed it. I didn't say anything, just
I
put it
did.
there.
Yeah.
She said, he said, you saw when I was unpacking it. You didn't say anything. I didn't know.
Oh
Oh,
my
wow.
goodness.
That was fun.
Yeah. So, I mean, let me ask you guys. And you know, maybe I'll share a little bit myself, but if you know a new couple came to you, and then maybe before we after that we'll maybe take one or two questions from. I think there were a couple questions coming in. So if you guys have a question, feel free to put it in the comment or chat box. I'll review them and maybe we'll ask them a couple of them. So a new couple, somebody looking to you know, looking out there to you know for a mate and looking to get married, or maybe anyone already in a marriage relationship. What's the top two advice would you give them? Right, saying I think Ronald 7 years, Caleb, how many years again you've been married?
2.5.
2.5. So I'm sure you've had your fair shares of experience. Both, you know, you've had your fair share of fights because believe it or not, all couples fight. For those of you watching, or if you're single, you don't think couples fight, all couples fight. Okay, even if you know after we fight, we make up, but we always fight about something. So, what you know, what would you share? You know, one, two. I don't know if you wanna, if you have more than that, and you know, just keep them short so we could hear everybody else. But what would you say to a new couple, or people, somebody who just got married, or somebody who's just about to get married? We'll start with you, Mike.
Like I said last 2 weeks, don't let your eyes fool you. You know, I suggest I suggest every young man looking for someone, do not just look from the outside. You have to look from the inside, because the inside, the reactions, the way that person understand marriage, everybody is not made for marriage. Because if you always have your mind like a single people, you don't like sharing. This is one red flag in looking for a mate, share, because you're gonna share your life with no limit with someone. If you're already selfish and not ready to share, or your future wife or husband, you look like someone who won't share from A to Z, won't share. This is a red flag, and you have to really work on it, because marriage is all about sharing from A to Z. Share your entire life, where that person have gonna have rights on your decision, on your A to Z. Sharing and good communication skill, because I can't read her mind unless she speak to me. I would make a lot of mistake if I try to read her mind. Communication. I know people who don't like to communicate. This is another red flag. So I suggest, if you look for a mate, look for people who can communicate, or try to communicate, or people who like sharing, because most of the marriages get in trouble because of selfishness, and that's red flag. Red flag,
Yeah.
right, baby?
Anything
But
to add
no,
to that?
I don't get married with someone just because you love them.
Mm.
Love is not enough
But
to
I love
marry with
them. Why
someone.
not?
Mm.
I love
There are
them.
something, there are something uh, um deeper, higher, bigger than love. Let's say I'm married with him and he's neglecting me, he's abusing me verbally, emotionally, physically. I won't stay with him. And so you find many times people say, I love him, but I can't live with him. So love is not enough
Mhm.
for you to be together with someone. You need knowledge. What is it to be a man? What is it to be a woman? You need to know what a woman is made with, what what you're looking for.
Mhm. The quality you're
You
looking
need
for.
to you need to know how to handle anger. How will you handle like confrontation in the foyer, in the with your in-laws? You need to know so many things. So love for me is not enough for you. Do not base on love to get together with someone, because
That,
if you start abusing me, I'm gonna forget about that love that I have for you, because this is too much for me to bear.
yeah.
You're abusing me. So, dude, it's a mistake. If anyone based on love to get married, it is a mistake.
All
You
right.
need
So
knowledge.
that's great. Now, what would you and Mike says is the biggest strength in your relationship?
What is it?
The biggest strength in your relationship?
Oh, we talked. We listen to each other. If I'm mad, Mishu will. I mean, if I'm like, let's say I'm very upset and I'm saying things, he's not gonna answer me. He's gonna sit. I remember we had, I mean, someone came over and we were talking about something, and I start like, I don't know what come over me, and I start explaining, talking. I was fine. And he didn't say a word. And I was waiting for him to say something, for me to just like explode. But he didn't say a word. And that is the strength of our relationship. And when he's upset, I don't see anything I do. Because
Okay.
I sometimes he's right. But I
Sometimes.
know I'm not, yeah. So
Most of the time.
Most of the
yeah,
time.
sometimes he's right. Yeah. So
Okay.
we
That's
respect each
great.
other enough. And before we start, before even we get married, he set that limit. There will be no cursing word. There will be no raising voice. There will be no. I mean, he predict all that while we didn't know nothing about marriage yet, because there's a limit you have to set for.
Yeah. Okay.
Once you see this is happening, you don't like it, stop it right there. Because what you allow, later on you'll be able to stop it.
Yeah.
And so in our relationship, we know our limits and we
Okay.
respect it.
Thank you for sharing that. That's very, very insightful. All right. So, Caleb and Jessica, why don't you maybe share, a few things you've learned in your marriage that you think would be useful for maybe a new couple or somebody who's already married?
Um, one I can say is be patient. When you first get married, you're you're not yet. You understand? You're married, but you're not really married, like marred together. Like you're not welded together
Mm-hmm.
yet because you were so strong as individuals. And a lot of people think like the first week, second week, even the first second month that okay, we married now because we have a ring. Everybody sees us. Her last name changed. You got the mail, like it's a certificate, and then you come to your first challenge, and then you start to question like, yo, this is who you are, and then honestly, you also look at yourself. You're like, wow, this is how who I am too. This is how I responded,
Mm-hmm.
and so I
Mhm.
would say like one, be patient and with the person and be patient with yourself at the same time because you may think you're this person and then they bring out something else in you and you're like you may either judge yourself too much and you're not feel like I'm not a good husband, I'm not a good wife, and you know you're not there yet. So enjoy the process of growing together. Enjoy the journey. So that's something I would say, and I mean, I think to keep it short, I think that's what I can say for that question. I don't know what you
It's
think.
No,
good.
I
That's very good. That's very good.
Yeah, I agree. Be patient and also know that when you're getting married, it's not your job to change the person. It's your job
Mm,
to work on yourself. It's your job to improve
mm,
yourself. It's your job to encourage the other person and support them in what they want to do. But it's not your job to fix them. And that's one thing that I think we both had to learn early, very early in our marriage.
Yeah, one thing I can like to say to the like the young people that wants to get married, be willing. If I could just put it into short terms, like be willing to yield your individualism, like to be with someone. Like a lot of things that I like to do by myself, like for me, this what makes Caleb Caleb. I had to learn like that may not be for the benefit of this
mhm,
marriage, and I
mhm,
have to learn how to also submit and yield that for the better of what we have.
Mm.
So I can go down the whole path with that, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say with that.
That is a great tip. I mean, for those watching, it's one of my biggest thing is don't ever go into a relationship thinking you're going to change that person. If
yes.
you go in the relationship with that mindset, you're setting up yourself for failure. Because my wife tells me this all the time, and we always have this conversation. You know, you'll never change because of me. I'll never change because you have to want to change for you, right? Then and only then you'll change. Now, I may be the reason you want to change, but you have to want to change. And this is something that she's always reminding me of, like when she tells me something, and maybe there's something some ways she wants me to be. She's like, I can't change you. You have to want to change for you, right?
Yes.
Now she may be
Yeah.
the catalyst of the change, but I have to want the change.
Yeah, that's right. And to add
Yeah.
something what Sister Annie said too, my dad taught me something. He said if you marry someone the way they are, you're telling that it's okay to be like that.
Mm.
And that's something that resonated with me. Um and also something that Sister Annie said that is true. You don't go into marriage with your heart only, you go with your mind and your
And
heart.
your heart. Yep.
It's not just your heart. You need to have a brain. God didn't just give us a heart.
Most of
He
us
also
do it
gave
with
us
the heart.
that, and that's where a lot of marriages fail because we define love as an emotion.
Mm-hmm.
A pastor said, "Love is a decision."
Yeah.
Like every
Amen.
day, I have to decide I'm going to love you through this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
love is not an emotion. The day that that becomes a revelation to you, you understand that, then you're a step ready to get into something serious.
And
So
that's one of the biggest reason most people divorce is because when you're going through challenges, whatever you felt when you were attracted to each other, you
You
are
don't.
not going to feel it anymore,
you're not feeling
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
right?
it.
You
You're not
have to
feeling
have
it.
the faith and the belief that this thing is still there, but right now we're facing this moment. We don't feel that feeling we call love at this moment, but we know we're committed to each other. We know this is something we're fighting together against this situation to overcome, as opposed we fighting each other. I don't know if you have anything to share on that, because we always talk about this kind of things.
Well, for me, I like to speak from a woman perspective. I like to say, know the man's vision. Because remember, this man's supposed to be leading you. You're supposed to be respecting this man, especially if you're
And
going to
submit.
and be submissive. No, but the thing is, you can be
I know.
submissive to a man if the vision is
It's
not
not
in
there. Yep.
alignment with who you want to be or where you want to go. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
For example, if you're in church, you want to stay in church, you want to get married to somebody who's not in church. I'm not saying it's not possible. He has done, and many women are able to bring that man to the church. But this is gonna be a really, really tough battle. You understand what I'm saying? When you want to go to church the night before he went to that club or to that party and everything, how is that gonna work? So you have to make sure you understand with his vision. So you have to question him multiple times. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now? To make sure where he wants to lead you, that's a place you want to go.
That's
Yeah,
right.
And
yeah.
this is how you're gonna respect him, because you have to make sure, because respect is earned. As much as they say, women, you want to respect your husband, I would love to respect you, but you
Yeah.
have to earn it. Now at the beginning, we all give like a little down payment, so I respect you, I give you that little down payment. But throughout that marriage or throughout that relationship, if you cannot keep that respect, I'm sorry, we're human. We can keep praying for God to change us and make us holy, but it's going to be very difficult to keep respecting this man who keep disrespecting himself. You understand what I'm saying? So you have to make sure, okay, this is a man who he's going to make mistake. Everybody makes mistake. You understand
Yeah.
what I'm saying? You can judge a man based on a couple of mistakes. This is the first time he's getting married, or this is the first time in a serious relationship. But you have to understand. You have to understand. At the end of the day, I like to say, gun to your head. You have to make sure okay, this is a true mistake the man makes. You understand what I'm saying? This man is very respectful, and I did I mention that too? The same thing that I love about him is the same thing that drives me crazy. He's very calm. He's super, super calm. I can put the house on fire. He remains calm. And that calms me. And I'm like, I don't understand how you lead me. You don't say a lot of words. But he still managed to take me wherever he wants. I can talk. I can talk all night, all day. At
Oh
the end
yeah.
of the day, at the end of the day, the final thing gonna go his way. And I'm like, I don't understand this thing. But you understand what I'm saying? So this is, to me, it's you have to know that man's vision. If you're gonna be that submissive person that he's gonna work on, absolutely. And give him the ultimate respect that he
Yeah.
deserves.
This
You have to know who that person is. And for you men, you have to make sure you know this woman. Don't wait like it's after you get married, or if you see things that you don't like. Oh, I'm gonna marry her. When we got married, she's gonna be so happy. She got a husband. She's
She's
gonna
gonna
change.
change that.
No, she's
Yeah.
gonna get worse. So
I think Caleb said it right.
yeah,
What his father taught it. You married her like this, then
no,
it's you accept her
you
like
accept
this.
her like this. So she's not gonna get better. It's probably gonna. She may get once in a while. It gets better.
Yeah.
But on average, it gets worse. So take her the way she is. Love her the way she is.
Brother Finney can say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brother, no, Brother Leo.
Mhm.
Say you buy the land. If you the way you get the land, There's
That's it.
nothing you cannot expect something else. If you buy flat land, you cannot expect
Yeah.
to
If
no
you
in,
buy
in
hilly
To
you
land,
know the
have
difference
hills.
between red, yeah,
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 hills and
if
flat.
you have
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
you get what
Yeah.
you get.
yeah,
Yeah. What you bought is what you've got. You've got to
Yeah.
work
yeah.
with it.
Yeah,
Well, how about you, Juan and Bernine? Any
Gotta go.
tip for maybe new couples or
Ladies.
people looking to? Because I know some people watching are looking to get married or are engaged and going to get married. Any tip you want to share with them?
Um, he's saying for me to go first. um, all right. So before I heard Sister Annie, in my mind, what I was going to say was you don't, you marry because you love someone, but you marry not for convenience. You don't marry someone because they have money. You don't marry someone because they can, you'll be well off. You have to know that this person loves you for real. It's not just for the looks. It's not just you have to look past the lust and see that
Mm-hmm.
I can have a life with this person. But I totally agree with this Annie, and Brother Caleb also mentions that too. You have to use your mind as well. You know, God gives you discernment. You have your own discernment. So you have to make sure that you are going not based on just what you feel in your heart, your emotion, but you have to, there's certain key things. Character is
Mm-hmm.
so important. Character is so
important.
key.
Hmm.
So you marry, yes, you love, not just for love and not just for convenience, not just because the situation is going to work out for you. Because what's going to happen is a little bit along the road, you're going to be like, I don't love this person. And it's going to get tough. Y'all going to have arguments. And it's not, you may not get over it. And it's going to you might end up going separate ways. And that's not what we marry. We marry to stay together until death do
Mm-hmm.
us part. Marry to separate. So it's important that you see a life with this person, that you watch how he treats other people, how she treats other people, how she treats them, how he treats his mother. That's
Mm-hmm.
important
Hmm.
Mhm.
because it's a reflection what I've noticed of how he's going to treat you,
That's
because
true.
you're not his mother, you're his wife.
Yeah.
But if he has respect for his mother, loves
Mm-hmm.
and cares and nurtures his mother, you will
Mm-hmm.
know that he will do the same for you. Like it'll show
Yeah.
you that because
Hmm.
there's no way to know. You can't really know how a person's gonna be 5 years later. When you
Mm-hmm.
first get married, that first it was like, okay, like we did the thing, we married now, we're living together. You don't know what you're gonna get. You just because the person could switch just like that. After everything is there's a whole different person.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there are certain things that you can see and that can help you, of course, with praying also. You got to make sure that God is, you're guiding you, but you have to make sure there are certain things that will stand out. And,
Yep.
like, okay, maybe this is a good choice. Maybe we'll
Yeah.
be all right, you know? So that's what I think one has to say.
Well, let's see what he's got to say.
Yeah. Well,
Give it to the men out there, the boys.
yeah. I think the key, this is for the guys, you always have to, I know we talked about love, but I feel like love has a lot of, I guess, you can subdivide love or define it by many things: patience, compassion, um, caring. I think those are one of the main things that the guy should always um, put in their head towards their wife or their wife to be. Um, I remember Pastor Zizi mentioned that a woman is already born to love. That's why God told the woman to respect the husband. So a lot of times little bit hard for the guys to love. I feel like as long as you can do that as a guy, um, be caring, being the provider, um, and being the king, I feel like you can always count on your wife to be happy. Um, Another point that I want to put out is for those that are married and those that are going to get married, never go to sleep upset or without concluding any undisputed conversation. Never let it go on to the next day, because if it goes on to the next day, it might go on to 3 days or 5 days. And then when
Mhm.
you scratch your head, you're trying to figure out
What
what was
happened in the first
yeah,
place?
yeah, it was like so small, you know. So
Yeah.
no matter what time it is, if it's like 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, resolve it, you know, resolve it. Um, but yeah,
I mean, I'm not
that's
gonna lie. That advice has also gotten to me. I love my sleep, man. I want to
yeah,
sleep.
Don't worry, I'm
yeah,
good at waking up
But
people.
Yeah,
you know what
that
happens, right?
we tried that, but then when I have work, I gotta wake up at 5:30. You wanna wake me up at 2? So
She's
No, but
done this to me so many
yeah,
times.
yeah,
if
I
I
think
have
I'm
it's
like,
just
something
oh
to
the
come
say,
on! It's
habit.
2 o'clock, 2:33 in the morning. Let me
yeah,
sleep.
If
I
I
think
have
we take
yeah.
something,
nap and then
And
we.
one last thing. I know we're two wholes making becoming one, and we talked about not solely depending on your heart or but using your mind when you get married or when you're in a when you get married, you become one. You want to have one mind. So Sister Charles had said, try to follow each other's vision or your husband's vision, or just have one vision, have one master plan. But if you go on to get married and you have your own plan and he has his own plan, then it becomes a division, and that's where separation starts happening, you know. Like Formicula said, he's always with his wife, companion. That's another
Mhm.
one. My wife likes for me to be around her.
I love it too.
And you love being around her too.
Yeah.
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 yes,
You getting hot, Sister Benin?
Yeah. If I'm not around her, then she's gonna look else, or deviate or find other, things to get her mind, her attention. And when I'm finally, have time or try to make time, then it becomes, her time. Unless if you guys like, she knows I'm a bass player, I'm a musician. When she was marrying me, she knows that I play often at fellowships or even weddings. I'm doing sound, and sometimes I feel bad for her, but she knows that that's something that I do. And
Mhm.
likewise, I know she's a fitness queen. She goes to
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
so yeah. So we know both our minds are set on each other's um, how you say hobby. You know,
Mhm.
if I could join her, I'll join her. She could join me. She'll join me. So
I haven't seen you join her yet on the mat.
yeah, I
Yeah.
know it's
Oh,
coming.
You have?
Oh, the
It's
entire
coming.
they
family.
I
do.
guess I
Yeah,
missed
It's
it.
coming.
Yeah, I
I've
tried.
seen the
yeah,
kids. I haven't seen him.
No,
yeah, yeah,
I,
Yeah.
yeah,
they have, and I tried to do the same thing. It didn't work for me.
yeah. I
I
know.
tried to bring everybody in. After I think I saw your video on Instagram. So I'm like, oh, she did that. Let me do it too. You gotta tell me the secret, on the side.
We'll talk after.
But be on the same page. That's the number one thing. Be on the same page.
Absolutely. Actually, this is one of the things that her and I, my wife and I, we realized when we are working together toward the same vision, we're the happiest. And whatever it is that we're working together on, we're successful at.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it's just amazing. Like if I'm doing my own thing, I can get some level of success. And if she's doing her own thing, she might get some level of success. But when we actually come together and work towards that one thing together, it's amazing. Like we've set goals. Like 3 years. This is what we're gonna do. 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
this is what we're gonna do. And it just happens. I'm not gonna say faultlessly because we work hard for
Right.
this thing to happen, but it just happened that we just work well together when we have like business ventures or anything else that we're working on together. It
Mm-hmm.
works
I
well,
think we have more fun, like
we have fun
working, doing
too.
Can I
vacation
say this,
and
Mike?
working
Mike
at work.
too.
Yeah.
An idea. Like me and my wife when we was buying this house, we never thought it would have been possible. But my wife loves to write things down. That's number one. She made a vision board and we put it up and we worked towards that together. And it happened so fast and
Mm.
Yeah, no,
because
it's true.
Good. Good.
Sister,
Good.
are you guys, Sister Jessica and Caleb, are you saying something on that?
Yeah,
Talking to
you
each other.
we're talking. I'm sorry because we have the music in the background too for Gabby. But no,
Okay.
like this is part of like success in the marriage. Like while you guys are saying things, we're like, yeah, we should do that. Yeah, do we do that? We're like reflecting on our marriage. Like, yeah, we should do that tonight. We should work on that. We should talk about that. So that's what we just kind of do because yeah, she rubs off on me. Whereas like when we listen to something that we reflect and we're like, yeah, we should incorporate that. We should, So that's what we're
We
talking
like to
about.
learn.
So we're just
Yeah.
learning. Yeah. So
Awesome. I
that's
mean
all. That's
that
why we just like. I'm sorry.
that's the whole idea, learning from each other, being here and just sharing with each other while we learn from each other, and hopefully some of those watching can learn as well.
I
Awesome.
Yeah, but
Awesome. Yes,
I'm
go
glad
ahead,
that you
Bernie.
said that. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bernie.
No, no.
you are no go ahead. You finished? You go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that I like what Mike what you just said about you find level of success when you doing certain things by yourself. Your wife finds some level of success when you do things by herself, and we actually come together. They actually can reach its fullest potential of success. So that's something that definitely that just caught my attention. That's good.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
mean, it's something we notice as we, I guess, as we start doing stuff together, we notice,
Yeah.
when we do this together, we actually, not only we happy through the process, but then we have much better results.
Yeah, I mean, we can go on vacation, we argue, but if we're working toward a business thing, it can be like for like 3, 4 months, no argument. It's like, it's
We
just a
focus.
joy. We're happy, we're gurgling. It's like, and even on my YouTube channel, guys, those of you who follow me, I know you see me more, but it's all behind the scene.
Yeah.
Sometimes from time to time it takes a little break and I have to like pull him back. No, you can't leave me together. I can do this by myself. He said, yes, you can. I'm like, no, I can't. You have to come back. But yeah, we're still working on that very closely.
Yeah.
Behind the scene is there. You just don't see him.
Yeah, she made me work hard, but believe it. So anyway, I think Bernie, you had something you wanted to say.
Yes. I wanted to say this is another thing, like for people who are already in relationships, already married, or looking to get married. What's important is don't let other people infiltrate the relationship. That is so important. Everybody has opinions. Everybody's gonna say this is how you should do it. This is how it's supposed to be. This is how it's to be. But you too know what works for you too. So, and it's important if I have an issue that I don't go to somebody else and say this is what Ron did. Can you believe it? Especially not your parents. Oh, this is what he did. Can you believe it? Because if the person is a good person, they'll give you good advice. But if the person doesn't have enough maturity, they may not give you good advice. And that it's better to keep the whatever art this the discussion is, the argument is, keep it between the two of you, the two in the relationship. And you know what? No one should know that you are having an argument. We could be arguing in the car about something. As soon as we step out, nobody knows. Nobody's supposed to
Yep.
know. This
Yeah, no,
happened
it's
between the two of us.
yeah, agree.
It happened between the two of us, and we're gonna handle it between the two of us.
Absolutely.
Whether if it's at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, he's not gonna sleep because we're gonna fix it. Okay?
Tell her,
Well,
sister.
all right, I'm
Howard.
sorry. I have this
Hey,
question to the
Howard.
sisters. I have this question to the sisters. Why 2, 3 o'clock in the morning?
It's not. It's not.
It's still not fine.
It's not.
I'm not
I
Yes,
mean, since go ahead.
Go ahead.
it's not. It's not that it's purposeful. I think women just tend to reflect on a deeper level than men,
That's the
And
magical
men,
hours.
no, men don't like to. Men. One thing I realized getting married, men hate confrontation, and the thing is, it's not even always a negative thing. It's just they don't like to talk.
They
They
don't.
don't like to talk about things. They don't like to bear their feelings. So then, when women are just like, I've reflected and I'm ready to talk, they're just like, I gotta go to sleep. I'm
But
tired.
why can't you do it the next day?
No, because
Why
even
can't you
on the
bring it
next
up?
day,
Exactly. Why
even
two,
if
three
it's
o'clock in the
Tomorrow night
morning?
conversation.
the next day, then it's big. That's old news. Why we gotta still talk about that? I thought we were
Get it?
okay. That's what
We
happened.
have the same
I mean,
feeling.
Sister Annie, do you do that to Mike? Do you wake him up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and actually discuss what's been on your mind? Or you
Oh
wait
yes,
until he wakes up?
2, 3 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
I
You
need.
leave, or
I
you
need to
can
sleep.
offset. So
Are you
if you have
What
compassion,
did I
How,
just say?
how about when you wake up at 3, you pray and then go back to sleep and let us
That's
sleep?
how we pray.
We cannot pray if
Uh,
there is a problem unsolved. We
Exactly.
cannot pray.
I
Mais
have
You
to
ou
are
ask
not at
capote,
Theory.
peace.
ou capote fado baleseye kite la and we
Ah,
make
amen,
we.
amen.
I have I have to
Preach.
add Theory to his question.
She has theories to my question. Okay.
Number one, we know you like to take a nap, so we make sure you take a nap because we want to make sure you're well rested.
Ah,
Number
Okay.
two, we know you like to go to sleep. So if we wake you up, we clear out that argument. So we're gonna win. So because you're washing to go back to sleep.
Oh,
These are just
Okay.
theories, though. I
Oh,
don't know if it's true.
hey,
But
brothers, just say
Actually,
you're sorry, and then
you
that
sure
case
you're
closed.
sleeping?
just say you're sorry and then I
I
get it.
no,
sorry.
give us a hug. Let
I'm
us give
sorry.
it a hug
When
too.
I say I'm
Sorry
sorry,
with
they're
a
like, "What are you sorry for?"
Exactly.
Thank you.
What
You
is
have
it
to
you
say
sorry
why.
for?
Or
And
just say I'm sorry.
then you try to remember at 3 o'clock in the morning the
Yeah.
service that you did wrong. Because
That's
you say one thing that they're not satisfied. They want
It's
every
Yes.
over.
single.
Yes, you have to be clear.
Oh my
Oh man,
gosh. I thought I was the only one who was going through that. Like 2,
no.
3 o'clock in the
no.
morning. I'm
Oh.
sleeping. Can you please let me
I
sleep?
told you I was normal. Now you believe me?
It works the next
oh,
day. Don't fix it that night.
I'm,
Next
I'm
day
sorry. Could
because
you
I
repeat
have
that for us, Sister Benin?
it would be worse the next day because then I'll have more time to think about it and
That's
I'll
true.
be more upset. So it
Oh.
starts to
Mhm.
Yeah, just do it
so
the day,
we have
the
to
same
fix
day.
it. And
Yes.
if it goes to tomorrow,
Same day
not
delivery,
good.
That's true.
guys.
You
yeah.
get
Just
more
get it
upset.
done and
Oh.
over with.
You get more.
Same day
Well,
delivery.
thank you
All
all
right.
for
Yeah.
clearing that for me.
Yeah.
Thank me later.
Yes.
It-
All right, so let's take one question. I know it's 8:20. We're having so much fun. I think we lost track of time.
Wow.
But there's one question that I'd like for us maybe to go over for our viewers and listeners. The question is, sorry, okay, so the question is placed perfectly, hopefully, and not blocking anybody's head. But how do you balance growing together in happiness and growing individually in happiness? So we'll start with you, Mike and Annie.
You wanna go first?
well,
Can you keep that question up for us? Is that
Sure,
possible?
I'll put it
yeah, I
up
thought it
again.
was. I think it was Bernie.
Mm-hmm.
Your happiness, you have to bring it in the relationship. You do not come in the relationship and say, "I'm waiting for you to give me happiness." No,
Mm-hmm.
you are responsible for it,
Mm-hmm.
and he's responsible for it.
For my
And
side.
then you bring that together, and you have a full cup. But we do not, because marriage is a choice. It is a choice. It is not a requirement. It's a choice. You choose that.
Mm-hmm.
And God does help you with it. He doesn't choose your mate. Let's be clear on that. God doesn't choose your mate. You choose your mate because he helped you with that. He gave you a brain. He gave you a pastor. He gave you his Holy Spirit.
And he give you time.
He gave you time. He gave you parents. So you have all the tools for you to be successful in that. And I think in Hosea,
Mm. What did it say?
Hosea 4, something like that, it says, it talks about lack of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
But further down it says, and Brother Caleb will help me with that. It says, if you reject it, if you reject knowledge, so you cannot reject something that wasn't there for you. That means you had it and you reject it. And even and God even goes and
Hosea
said,
4
Yeah, he
6.
said, verse 4,
"Oh,
chapter 4,
Hosea,
if you reject
Yes,
knowledge, I'll reject you.
reject
yes.
you." So and he even said, "You cannot be a priest before me." And when he says that, I mean, like you cannot even represent me. You cannot talk about me because you are not what you represent me. You are not. You
Mm-hmm.
bringing down my reputation.
Mm-hmm.
And even go on the kids. So knowledge is something you must look
Yeah.
for,
Mm-hmm.
gain. I
Yeah,
mean, it is a
knowledge.
necessity in a relationship.
So, what are
So
some of the key topics, maybe as couples, that people should look for to increase the knowledge? And because I know there are specific topics that can help couples in a marriage, and I'm asking you that question since you both talking about it, Mike and Annie. Uh, I'll open the other questions to the to Caleb, Jessica, and Juan and Bernard. But you talk about knowledge. What are some specific topic, right? As couples that people, couples should look to grow together in order for them to have that knowledge.
First, you have to know what is marriage stand for.
mhm.
If you seeing people married and then you just want to get married, or age is coming, he's 34, I want to get married, but you have to start thinking, what is marriage look like?
What is it that I'm getting myself
What is,
into?
yes, what is it
Yeah.
I'm getting myself into? Started to nourish yourself by knowing what you going to do. It's not some, to me, marriage is, you can undo it. It's something you get in and you try your very best to figure it out, because if you put yourself in it and feed yourself with proper tools, you will make it.
Yes,
It's not something
definitely.
like I guess I can make it. You can make it work if you
Hmm.
both want. Don't jump in because my neighbor jumped in. I want to jump in. I want to be the next one married in the church, because it's about time. What makes it about time?
Yeah.
Yes, there is not a certain time to jump in. If your mind is not ready, you don't know what you're doing. You have nothing. You have no knowledge about marriage. You have to start to feed yourself. Learn to share. Learn to understand. Learn to listen. In
Yes,
So
marriage, you're gonna have
communication.
to listen. Communication.
you know that.
Y-
You rather be alone and happy than be together and miserable.
Yes, yes.
Right?
There's nothing wrong.
You are
That's
doing
right.
just fine at
Yes,
your mom's house,
yes.
and
Mm.
now you're
Mhm.
married and you're miserable. You're depressed. Oh, come on now.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
nothing wrong to be alone.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, so let's, Caleb, I'll put the question up for you and your wife if you guys want to share some
Uh,
things about that one.
I just I just want to say, Sister Annie, you're truly anointed. Um,
Yes,
She
she
I
is.
is.
don't
She
Praise
is.
the Lord.
I don't
I just wish we had more time.
flattery.
Right.
I wish we had more time, Sister Annie. I never knew. Like when you spoke, I know we all know Fabiola Mikaela, she's anointed. We did it, and of course you had to be as well. I just want to say that
Man,
when you spoke at the conference, I was
nuggets.
like, wow,
Yeah.
and I was like, we have to go back and rewind it. But just now, everything that you just said, that really hit home. That verse, I'm glad you brought it, because a lot of times when we read that verse, we don't continue to read um
Mhm.
that verse. Someone said something to me in one time. It was a young brother in the church, and we all know we're in the body of Christ. And he said to me, Brother Caleb, I love you, but I got one problem with you. I was like, what is? He said, you love your wife more than the church. And I'm like, good.
Yeah.
I'm like, he was like, good. He was like, what? And I'm like, good. I'm glad that you're able to see what qualifies you as a minister. And he was like, he thought I was gonna get depressed, discouraged. I'm like, I'm good. Like, and I went because every day they see me come to church with my wife. And when I leave the church, I'm with my wife. I sit down after church on the chair with her, and then we leave together. I'm the last person to have to close the door. And even where I live with my wife, it's an issue. And I'm like, we chose to live a certain distance away from people on purpose. Like it was intentional. But we still in the church. And I remember when I was in Georgia, you guys know I spent some time in Georgia. And I always give this credit back to Pastor Claude, my pastor in Georgia, who's teaching on marriage. And I asked them the regular question that they say in the body. I asked them, I said, what comes first, Pastor? The church or your marriage as a minister? And he says, I know what you're expecting me to answer. He says the answer is they both come first. And then he said the problem that as we have is we try to put one before the other without realizing they're together. You have to know that your ministry, it starts at home. So when you ask which comes first, you're still separating like ministry and home. And he says that's where a lot of people fail. And that was one of the greatest lessons Pastor Claude ever taught me as a young man. Because I was in Georgia without my father, without my mother. So every time something with the church, I'm back with my wife, like, okay, how are we gonna do this? If there's a fellowship, how are we gonna do this? If there's these brothers that want to do a Bible study, babe, are you okay? Like with this, sometimes they ask much. I'm like, yo, I gotta ask my wife. Like, ask my wife, I'm like, yes, I'm setting an example for you. Yeah. That I'm having Bible study with you. But if it's too much times in a week, if my wife says I need you to watch Gabby, I have to be okay with it because I need you guys to see the balance of true ministry is you have to see Caleb with the Bible and Caleb with Gabby. And Caleb preaching and Caleb with his wife. So that you don't think that you have anointing is preaching behind the shed, everybody speaking in tongues, and your wife is just taking care of the kids, and then you got your white shirt and you a bishop. That's
That's a good one. Yeah.
That's just beautiful what you say. That's just beautiful.
You're not
But
gonna be
Mister
saved.
and that's just beautiful. I love it. I love it. Keep going, please.
No, I'm sorry. I'm it's my passion now. Like with the marriage and it's trying to show brothers like you can have anointing to preach in every church in the body of Christ, but still be disqualified to make the bride of Jesus Christ because you don't take care of ministry.
She is your responsibility.
She's my responsibility.
Jesus died for the church.
Why you
Not
take
my
what I was
husband.
saying? You
Not
took
my
my
husband.
anointing. That's exactly what I'm about to
This
say.
is my husband right here. He's responsible for me.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
So don't take all your time spending in church and leaving me by myself.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
No.
And that's where I felt because when I was younger, and again I wasn't married, so I'm helping everybody, doing so many things. So people are still expecting that. So if I do less, they're like, "Oh, you don't love the body." No, but I love the body so much, I'm gonna stay qualified to preach this gospel and to
Yeah.
Thank
take.
you.
You see what I'm saying?
That's awesome,
So
man.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I really love it.
I like
Brother
it.
Kel don't have
You
to
gotta
even.
come back, man. You gotta come
No,
back.
That's
this
good
is my
stuff right
passion
there.
now.
That's good stuff.
Like,
Mike.
yes,
Yeah.
that's
And
why
that's
even
what.
now,
And that's
I don't
what.
even like even now, to be honest, I don't really try to like translate at every meeting on Zoom or be in every Zoom meeting because not because I don't want to be there or not be involved, but I know if I'm 6 hours on Zoom, who's helping my wife with Gabby if she has to cook? And that's what God is looking for. And I'm still trying to make sure that I do that right so the time I do stand, it's effective.
You
You know what I'm
said
saying?
it, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's not. We have to. I don't know. I'm sorry. Let me pause. Let me stop. I love
That's
this.
No,
This is
no,
good.
this
That's
is
very
great.
good.
No, this is
That is
great. So
very good.
no,
That is very
it's
but
great that you share this because the question is how do you balance growing together in happiness and growing individually, right? You
that's
could
right.
have
But
been
I'm
out there
still.
being happy doing all you do, but she's
Mhm,
miserable.
that's
Mm-hmm.
right. So
yeah.
I
But
still do
Mhm.
Bible studies,
Mhm.
right? But I don't do as much.
And we balance it.
And then, so I still have my things that I do. Like I like to play basketball. You know, Bernit inspired me to lose weight. I got into that. But at the same time, my wife, she wants to go to the mall. So I have to make sure that I have money when she wants to go to the mall. She wants to buy Amazon stuff. She wants to she goes and does her nails, and it's 2 hours. And I'm like,
But it's my time.
but
You know what I
you
mean?
that's her happiness. That's the balance. Because when I have my Bible study for 2 hours, she watch Gabby. Yeah, I can't say
No
Mhm.
anything.
complaints. Yeah.
Mhm.
So if she goes to do her nails for 2 hours, I gotta be able like, okay, I got Gabby too.
Yeah.
So
Balance.
that's the individual, but then we have to come back and then we're good. So even if I can't preach at a whole bunch of places, it's like I'm like good. I'm
Mhm.
okay.
You've been a model. This is
Because
how
your
you treat
family is
your
okay.
people by
Yeah.
being
Yes.
a model. You don't just
Yeah.
get up all the time with your
Yeah.
Bible into. You have
And
to
forget
live it,
everything else. Yeah.
Yeah.
show it, let people see it.
Amen.
That's
Wow.
right. That's right. And
All right.
that's why
Well,
yeah, that's good. That's good. That's why I really feel I'm sorry, this last thing. What we did last weekend was such a
Oh,
critical thing
Mm-hmm.
to the kingdom of God because we're in a time where a lot of people are getting a contagious spirit. Everybody want to get married because everybody else is
Mhm.
getting married, and they just want to be in a
Mhm.
relationship because everybody's in a relationship, but they not understand what it really means. You know,
Mhm.
so this is very very critical.
Mhm.
Go on
Mhm.
mute.
awesome.
I'm
All
sorry.
right. Great. All
Yeah.
right. So, Ron and Bernie, do you guys wanna try and share some thoughts on the question before we leave for the day? How do you balance growing together in happiness and growing individually in happiness?
Well, I think um, to piggyback on a few of things Brother Caleb said is to like for me, for instance, as I mentioned, I play the bass, and sometimes I'm practicing. I tell my wife I'm going to practice for an hour. Sometimes it turns into 2 hours.
Most times.
I know what
Yeah,
you mean.
Most of the time.
yeah, but I have to keep in my mind that we have kids, we have children, and there's things that needs to get done in the house, and I can't leave her by herself, and she has other things that she needs to do as well. So I think if you have respect for each other's time and respect for each other's needs, I think that's one way that you can balance,
Mm-hmm.
time. But doing things together, praying together, understanding each other are things that you can do to grow as a couple. Um, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But brother Caleb, he preached all everything.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
everything. I agree
out our mouths.
100%. Everything.
No,
I agree
it's. I
Yeah.
mean, it's something that we like. Me personally, my wife tells me this all the time. You want to do this, you want to do that. You can't leave the family out of it, right? Because
Yeah.
your family. And she said, Brother Caleb, you said this, but my wife preaches this to me every time. If
Yeah.
you think you're gonna make it in heaven while we're back here trying to figure it out, it's not gonna
Yes,
happen.
just
Yeah.
left us behind.
Yeah.
You know? You want to share a
Yeah.
little bit about
Oh, and
that?
I said Dr. Caleb. I'm so used to
Dr.
calling
Caleb. She calls
Dr.
you
Yeah.
Dr.
Caleb, Brother
Caleb.
Caleb,
He's a
Pastor
teacher.
Caleb.
Love it.
I
I think you
take it. I
nail
accept
it.
it.
Yeah, I think you
That's right.
nail it on the head. I think it was such a great, powerful message that you preach, especially for young people who's about to get married or who just got married. Sometimes we have to learn that lesson as we in the marriage, but at least you already give that little heads up. Especially for men, because for us women, we're good at juggling stuff. We always think, okay, this time for the husband, this time for the kids, this time for shopping, cooking, cleaning. But you guys, when you put your head into something, that's all you want to focus on. Church, 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 church. So that's why it's good. I mean, I'm glad that Sister Jessica doesn't have to pull you to remind you every day that this is the way it should be. But there's nothing wrong to a sister if you can remind him that, hey, I want to go to heaven with you too. So
Yeah.
Right.
take me
Don't
with
get me
you
wrong.
because it's
It wasn't.
but there's one thing that I noticed. I have to point this out because I wanted to say that since earlier. I noticed earlier when we asked the question about what do you do for fun, Brother Mikhailish did not talk about himself. He went to speak straight about what makes his wife happy. I
Okay.
don't know if you guys noticed that. He didn't
Okay.
answer about what makes him happy. And Brother
Okay.
Caleb, who's been married, I think for 2 years, he talks about a lot what makes her wife happy. I mean his wife happy in terms of, okay, let me try to do this. Let me try not to stay too much at the church. He's trying to get that balance to give a little bit of happiness to his wife. And I think Brother Mikhailish, it's focus on the same thing. It's like, I don't care about my happiness. Let's talk about what makes her happy. Because I know if I makes her happy, I'm
But
good.
for my husband, when I'm happy, that's his joy.
Yeah.
If I'm
Yeah.
not smiling, if I'm not talking, my
And,
husband is not happy.
and Michael, I could be 2,000 miles away. I call the house, the first word my wife say, and I already know
Oh
if
yeah.
she's okay or not. The
Oh
first
yeah.
hello,
Yep. Oh, trust me.
I will
When I walk
instantly
into the
tell you
house or anything
something.
happened, the
Yeah.
first sentence she said, would
Yes.
usually know something is wrong. But the problem is sometimes I would assume
Mm-hmm.
and not follow up,
Mm-hmm.
which is a problem, right?
No, when
Yeah,
We
you all do
when he's
that.
in trouble, he
Yeah.
acts like he doesn't know if I'm upset. That's how he does it. We know for sure 100%
Yeah, you all
he's
do
in trouble.
that.
It's like he
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
no clue what's going on. But
Yeah.
most of the time it's like he knows. I'm like, how come you know? Like sometimes it has nothing to do with him. I just have maybe work problem or other personal problem. I'm like upset. The very
Yeah.
first word I said, he would know something is wrong with
Yeah,
me.
that's
But
true.
when yeah.
look. That's it. We blind to our own situation.
You ask
Yeah.
me, Annie, what's going on? I say
Yeah.
nothing.
As
He will say, there is something. Tell me.
yeah.
What is it?
Exactly.
As
Exactly.
you guys
So,
talking about happiness, I just want to say one word to finish.
uh-huh.
To me, happiness in my wife, in my household, I have the button to put it up and down. In fact, the minute I open the door, if the atmosphere is not enjoyable, I first thing before I do anything, I want to bring the happiness back up to the level I want. Either open the video or the TV, play some music, started to dance with the kids. I gotta do something in the house to bring everybody to the level I want, and then I go shower and everything. But I never get to the house and see everybody's mad, and then I go to upstairs shower and go to bed. I got to make sure joy is there.
But when
Joy
he's
is
coming home, is a big deal.
I changed the whole
My son will say, "Why is just daddy coming?" I say, "No, it's not just daddy. It's my husband."
I love that. All
yeah.
right. Well, with that, I think wow, I didn't know we'd spend so much time, but it's been so much fun. I truly enjoyed speaking and discussing marriage and relationship with all of you. I mean, this is something Michelangelo and I we spoke about. Maybe we'll do something similar to this once a month, and in terms of talking about relationships and marriage. Because as you know, Michelangelo's passion and Sister Annie's passion is to help marriages be healthy, right? That's why they started Healthy Marriage Academy. So if you want to check them out, check out their YouTube channel, Healthy Marriage Academy, on YouTube. And you know, we just had a marriage conference, so I'm sure there's a lot there that you'll be able to learn through the channel as well. And if you are new to this channel, you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. We go live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I want to say thank you for spending time with me today. And you know, I hope you got some value out of what we've shared, all of the couples that we have on and what they've shared. And my lovely wife, it's a pleasure having you here with me.
Thank you so much for inviting me and allowing me to be here.
Yes.
And thank you so much, everybody. It was a pleasure being here with you.
Yes, and
and
in, and anyone here on watching, if you're struggling with relationships, leading yourself and others with intention, living life on purpose, then this channel is for you, right? This is where we're gonna share tips and strategies and hacks. And again, we're gonna have different variety of guests coming in. Next week we'll have another guest, a friend of mine from Honduras, who'll be joining us. So I'm excited. I can't wait for that. And again, if you want to become more, do more, and have more in your life, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell and to get notified every time we go live. And also, remember to follow me on Instagram at Michael Charles underscore I coach. And of course, you can follow me on Facebook as well, Lead with Intent for daily inspiration. Until next time, everyone, thank you so much for joining. Bye bye. Enjoy your time. And again, I can't thank you all enough for my guests. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
I got different hobbies, and that's all I need. Some say life is boring.